Welcome to the Fantasy Pavilion, your home for fantasy sports.
You're like a circle that floats around me.
Team here, you all in the comments, let me know what you all think. Poke some holes, right? Losh, size, he's much. Guys, thanks for watching. Losh. All right, time to go. Please tell the people the team that you back to.
Well, I can show you. That one right there.
God. I'm gonna edit that out in post, right?
Welcome to the Fantasy Pavilion. We go live in 10. Number 9. 8.
Yo! 7.
Number 6.
5.
Entry. Welcome, guys. Welcome back to the Fantasy Pavilion, your home for fantasy sport, and of course, international break. And I don't like to take a break. We like to keep trudging on, bringing you that content. And we have a very nice, special episode here for you guys, and a very special co-host. Right, he's no longer a guest; he's beyond that now. Great friend of the channel, and of course, he's a coach by trade, coach by profession. He's a tactical genius. He's a philosopher of sorts as well. And of course, he has his own analytics. And of course, he is one of the co-hosts of one of the top FPL shows right now on YouTube. Net That Hole. He's known as Gabriel. I love to call him Gabe. FPL Lens on Twitter is what he's known as. Welcome.
Hey, good morning to me and good afternoon to you, my good friend.
Yes. Good afternoon. Of course, it is 2:28 right now in Sweet TNT. And what time is it on your end, my good sir?
That would be 11:28 here in the Sonoran Desert in Arizona, United States.
I was hoping to have some sunshine to show you, but right now it's a bit inclement. But this is the best I can do for you right now. It's a bit okay for now. It's a bit okay. Right? So this is my that's my hometown of Digomatin. We are in the west, and it's a very, as you can see, very hilly. Right, it's a basin, so sometimes it rains here alone, and just maybe 5 minutes drive away, it's sun. So
yeah,
it's a very weird.
Reminds me of my hometown, except it's about 1 million times bigger.
And of course, guys, before we get any further with it, we have to congratulate, of course, Net That Hall for making it to the final rounds of the FCAs. And this is how you can vote. It's very simple. All you have to do is go to the footballcontent.awards.com site, and you're scrolling all the way down looking for the best in fantasy. Now, you've seen I already voted here, right? So you're looking for the creators section. You put in Net That Hall. Simple as that. And you can do like me, take your mom's phone, take your brother's phone, take all the devices in the house and vote. And of course, shout out, of course, our friends all about FPL as well for the editorial section as well. So Gabe, congrats to you. And how has the crew been reacting to that so far, Gabe?
I have to say we were a little bit blown away because when you look at the competition at this level, it's so intense, right? And you have all these shows that have been around for either they've been around for a lot longer, or they've been around as personalities in the community for longer, and we have our following compared to theirs is minuscule, but I think it just shows that our following is quite loyal, and then the people that do once they get their teeth into the show, they get kind of like they're hooked and they're there all the time, and they're great supporters, and it's just really a testament to them, and we couldn't be more appreciative to all of our subscribers and followers and the people that have supported us, certainly like you, Gerard. So it's a collective effort for such a small operation.
Yeah. Now again, 1,000 congratulations. As you rightly said, there are some big names and there, some heavy hitters, but you've made it this far. Might as well go for it, push, and all the best on the campaign. And our crew will do our best to try, as I said, get all the devices in all our homes to try and and vote for you guys and push you guys on, man. Right? So good luck.
It's particularly meaningful that it's 2 years in a row. So it
Yeah.
was, it happened last year, and it was a complete surprise, and we were quite floored by it. And when it happened again this year, it's like, okay, maybe it's not a fluke if twice is a pattern,
Yeah.
so they say.
Definitely. Now, of course, as I rightfully said earlier, you are no longer a guest; you are a co-host. So, and
Mm.
in moving to Suit Like That, of course, we must have our philosophy of the week.
Mm.
So, Gabe, take it away for us.
Yeah, we always like to start by just getting a good mindset going into any activities that we engage in. And the philosophy of the week this week for game week 9 is one. It's like a little bit taking a step back and thinking of like what knowledge is and how we acquire knowledge and the difference between knowledge and wisdom and so on and so forth. But I think the part of ourselves that's interacting with this knowledge is the mind. And this is a quote from Plutarch. He says, "The mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be kindled." And it makes me think of, when people describe children as sponges.
Yes.
And that seems like so wrong. A sponge is very passive. It just sits there and it takes whatever you put into it.
Correct.
But that's not what we're like at all, right? We are processes. We aren't these static, fixed things like a mind. The mind is a process. It's a fire that burns, and it tears itself down and it builds on top of that. And that's a healthy process. And so I really like this quote from Plutarch, just to remember, like, not to get stuck in any ways, to remember to question yourself and to kindle the fire that is your own mind.
Yeah. And I mean, yes, children, we say sponges, but it's good to nurture what they're absorbing, right? I guess that's where you're coming at here. Don't just leave them to suck up and soak up. Help them nurture it and mature it into something good and something meaningful. Yeah, I like this. Thanks so much. And of course, we could also apply this to, some some FPL assets as well. We could, don't just give up on certain assets. Keep it going, or don't just follow us content creators. Gun ho. Take it with a pinch of salt and add your own thoughts to it and apply your own team philosophy, because your team will be different to what our team is. So yeah. Thanks for that, Gabe, as always. Appreciate that. So we want to take a quick gander back at game week 8. I will not be discussing my team, but we just want to talk about
your D mid's not working out for you.
No, actually, not too bad. No, the problem was what's going on with me. I'm just not getting a lot of the points. So the guys, my punts are working out. My punts have been pretty good. I can't complain about that. I have that's my specialty right now. Just trying to get those punts, those funny punts that people are not picking up. I mean, I did not pick up Mitrovic this time, but I am glad that someone like Mitrovic is doing well, is causing trouble, having people scratching their head. Of course, the last game week didn't work out for some people, but I'm glad that someone like him is about. So let's look back really quickly, because there's a reason I want to talk about game week 8. So as you can see, of course, score lines, we don't really, beat up on the score lines unless we're talking about our teams that we're backing, of course. But I was very shocked by this game from a football standpoint. Because Aston Villa were not the best going into this. But I mean, yeah, Ramsey, a player that I doubt anyone would have had, if any, maybe on the bench, coming up trumps and Southampton losing the game. I was very shocked by this one. I don't know if you were surprised or you know.
Not really. I mean, I think Villa games can go, and Southampton games as well. I think they can go. I mean, a 0-0 wouldn't surprise me. A 1-0 either way wouldn't surprise me. I think Villa are, you never really expect them to score, because Gerrard has really sat that team back and just tried to solidify things, and it isn't really extending himself going forward. You see Leon Bailey playing tucked inside, and that's not his natural position, even though he does flare out wide there. And then Southampton, by contrast, maybe, I don't know, I think it's the youngest team or the youngest of the starting 11 in the league. I think what Southampton really need, but they're really missing Romeo Lavia.
Yeah.
He's such a presence in central midfield. And I think he'll be injured for a couple more weeks here. But Southampton are actually a team that I think I was too quick to judge as quite poor at the beginning of this season, when really what it was is just youth, and I think the youth is developing quite well. I think they're actually a more interesting team than Villa, but it doesn't surprise me that the experience of Villa at home took this
Right.
one.
Sure did, yeah. And just a quick touch on Kachuk. I like Kachuk, and not as an asset, but I don't know if I pronounce his name correct. I'm doing a
Hello-
Mariner, messing
Hello,
up his
Kachuk.
name.
Yeah, don't follow what Mariner says.
Right? Bella Kachuk. Please forgive me, but I am impressed by him, right? And there's Aribo as well. But I
Mhm.
really like Bella Kachuk. I'm watching him as well, not as an asset, but just as a player. I'm really impressed by his
No.
play. And as you said, it's youths, and I think they have the right coach to
Yeah.
spin them on and to develop them. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
I was surprised by this one because I have some Nottingham Forest assets. I was hoping things would have, tuned. But of course, Fulham have been in great form. We can't be surprised. But I know the big surprise for everyone gave was that no Mitrovic on the scoreline. I think that was the biggest surprise for this one.
Yeah, I mean, it seems, other than the Tosin goal that was from close up, right? I mean, the other two were just kind of just like really nice goals, right?
Yeah.
But that being said, this seems to happen to Forest. They keep, that they can't hold a lead. They're almost like irresponsible in a, I don't know if it's a Bielsa type way, because the Bielsa was like they were overextending themselves, but I think Forest have failed to adapt. What's his name? Cooper,
Yeah.
right? Has failed to like give his central midfielders some reinforcements,
Correct.
and they're being overrun. So Forest can never hold the lead, and that's why actually I question the pick of Neco Williams is. He's a player many people have in Forest, and we're expecting something, but he's also the type of player that when he gets you an assist, they concede so many goals that it's the 2-pointer, like the Perisic dilemma, right?
Correct.
So I don't know. I'm on wild card, and I'm not sure what to do with that spot in my team.
Yeah. But the thing with Neko now is a what if. I've been watching him a lot. He has some bullets in him, but the keepers, but he has some good strikes, and because he almost plays as a box almost. Because sometimes he's not even on the wing; he's more inside, and he takes some shots on, but obviously they have to go in. So that's my only hope. As you rightfully said, he could score, yes, or assist, but if they're conceding 3 goals on average every game, then that's, as you said, that's diminishing, and then worse yet if he gets a yellow card and things like that. So yeah, it's not worth it, but his price point, I think, is what is most attractive. Sadly, we are slaves to price right now. So I
Like
think
we are in that spot, we are, and it's a shame. I mean, the only reason to now consider him is because Patterson's injury.
Yep, and I have Patterson, so I didn't want to be reminded of that. But thank you, Gabe. Thank you
Yeah,
very much
yeah,
for
sure.
that. No surprise here. Maybe a surprise in how low the scoreline is, probably, Gabe, but no surprise. And no surprise by this particular man here, Haaland. Maybe a big surprise here, Grealish, finally on the score sheet. I have I have faith in him, but I guess he had to do that. If he has to show up now because he was picked for the English squad, and a lot of people were maybe they were against that or up in arms because they were saying that Sancho deserved the pick over the likes of him and a few others. So we'll see. But City going strong, and Haaland adjusting well. But we won't touch too much on Haaland. We'll talk about that later down. We're talking, but usual suspects: Bernardo and De Bruyne, with the assist, and Foden. Foden has been very consistent, okay, very consistent.
Very consistent. Even when he's played poorly, he still starts, which shows that Pep really wants to make him more of a focal point this season.
Yes.
So I think Foden will be involved, and he's young and durable. I think he'll be involved in a lot of the more important games for City this season.
Yeah, he's in that Mahrez-esque role, not position-wise, but more last season we saw Mahrez be the important guy, especially in Champions League. He was very important. Now Mahrez, we don't know when Mahrez is going to play, but Foden was in and out, especially with some of the disciplinary problems that he had. But now we're seeing him consistent because it's very hard, as you know, Gabe, to think of what like Pep. What Pep, who's Pep going to play right now?
Mhm.
Edison and Cancelo might be the safest picks, right? The only picks that you say, right, I can sacrifice my pinky finger that Cancelo and Edison are going to play.
Yes.
But Foden seems to be that guy that might be safe now. Maybe.
Until he's not.
Good old Pep. Hey, good old Pep. This was actually
Mm.
I was not surprised. I was not surprised because Bournemouth were looking okay now. Of course, yes, it's Newcastle at home, but they have a few key injuries in the midfield, and we that so they don't have enough time to work that chemistry out without that key glue, right? So I'm not very surprised. And Bournemouth right now are they're playing their heart out and throwing the kitchen sink at everyone that they're playing now. At the teams that they should be beating on paper, right? They had a very rough start, right? Let's be fair. They had a very rough start, and now they're facing the teams that they should be getting points from, and they're going for it. What do you think there, Gabe?
I think I agree that Bournemouth is on the up here. But that being said, we have 6 saves here for Neto for the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Maybe Newcastle deserved a little bit more out of this game.
Yeah.
But Newcastle's injuries, they're in very creative areas. I think Alain Saint-Maximin would have
Correct.
done wonders in this
And
game.
that's exactly what I mean. That the glue, he would have been amazing in a game like this.
Yeah. So, I mean, in that sense, maybe it was to be expected. Maybe we thought too highly of Newcastle without these key players. And Bournemouth is interesting. I have to say that Zamora, he's going to get more assists. I wouldn't go for a Bournemouth defender.
Correct.
But I see him getting in. I see that what happened there is as repeatable.
Yeah, definitely. I like to make people laugh, Gabe. I want to make you laugh. I captain Trippier that game week, but I'll take the assist points.
Exactly.
I like the captain defenders. Because now it's very risky, obviously, because they are no one is guaranteed a clean sheet. Keepers and goal and defenders are not there for clean sheets, right? But yeah, it was. I was really hoping that he could have at least scored, or when that free kick hit the post, gave. Oh, my heart just did this and came back.
Imagine that goes in and Bournemouth don't get this goal, then you're flying, right? And that's a matter of inches. So I mean, as far as the results, it could have gone your way for sure.
I know, but that's the beauty of FPL. That's what we love about FPL. Really, I love that. Some people don't, but I enjoy it. This one though, wow, what a doozy. So 6-2 Spurs to Leicester. Leicester not as terrible as the results are looking, not as terrible. The defense and the keeper. The keeper is not the best. And of course, we know they're in some kind of financial crisis right now. So they I think so they couldn't invest in certain areas. And they made one transfer, I believe it was, if so much. And I don't think they could even afford to fire Rodgers, Gabe, because as we know, when you terminate contracts with these coaches, you still have to pay them out for the rest, right? There's a clause in most of these managers' contracts, so they probably can't even afford to fire Brendan Rodgers. But what do you think of Leicester form so far? I mean, and the results, to me, they're not that terrible. It's just the investment. The investment wasn't there this season.
I mean, I think Leicester, they're getting by on the quality of their players. They have some good players, especially in attacking areas on this team. What they don't have is a manager, and then they don't have defenders. So that and they don't have a goalkeeper. And that's kind of Leicester's story. I find it to be really simple. I think from a Leicester perspective, that their upcoming fixtures are really nice. That's why I think Maddison playing on that right wing, I think is really interesting. He's their most attacking prospect there. But I find the Spurs conversation a lot more interesting because they're getting a lot of people are lauding them quite a bit, right?
Yeah. But the thing with Spurs now, the risky thing with Spurs, as you've seen in all their games, they're conceding. For as much as Conte I hate to use the word parking the bus because people, I mean, I am not against that tactic. I see people are slating Conte. Oh, he's defending. Why is he playing so much man behind the wall? Once you get goals, win games. Once they are scoring the goals, winning the games, that's it. That's it. Because when Italy do it, no one bats an eyelid. When other teams do it, no one bats an eyelid. So I think right now Conte, and it's not that they're afraid to lose because there's a fine line between you're watching a team and they're afraid to concede or afraid to lose, so they're playing, shyly or defensively. It's not that. I think that they're catching teams on the break, and now that Son is firing, you think there's just a flash in the pan from Son or more to come?
Both.
Yeah,
I think it's
yeah.
both. I think it is just a flash in the pan. He came on, and I mean, he scored a couple of worldies, right? Like this isn't going to happen. But it could be an indicator of upcoming form. So I think it's like that. Definitely keep an eye out. But Spurs, I have to say, like that Kane has certainly been ticking along as an asset. It's a lot of money for this kind of like a 6 to 9 or 6 to 10 million. His ceiling seems to be 10 million. So it's a lot of money for that, but maybe you pay for the consistency. So I can understand that. Son, I think, is going to continue to be inconsistent and prone to rotation because Richarlison, I think he's played quite well, and he brings a different dynamic. Nobody on that team can press the way Richarlison presses. But aside from the first match against Southampton, right, where Djenepo was playing defender for the first time in his life. Where the Spurs won 4-1, but they won. They scored 4 goals from an XG of like 1.5, 1.6, something like that. And then every other game, they scored 2 against Tottenham, 2 against. It's been like 1 goal, 2 goals, 1 against Wolves. So I don't know. I don't know if this is my bias. Everyone says I have a bias against Spurs. But I just see something off there. Something's not right.
No, and you're right, because again, this was against a very leaky Leicester, right? Very leaky Leicester. As you rightfully said, Wolves was a very compact team, and you're going up a team like that, and they did not do this against Leicester, against Wolves, exactly. So again, to me, it's not a safe measure, and I'm not going to get too gung-ho based on this. And as you rightfully said, it wasn't the goals that Son scored, especially, they were not from, let's say, 12 passes. They were from out the box shots. Not all the time those shots land, right? So that's something to consider.
Yeah.
And it was a short game week. Now, of course, the greatest team in London. We had a nice London derby. And the rematch from last season.
Is Brentford London?
Yes, Brentford is London. So it's a London derby. Yeah, okay. It's a London derby. Yeah. Just outside, but not outside, close to very close to outside, but they are London. It's at least 6 or 7 teams right now from London in the league right now. Because it's Fulham, Brentford, Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs, and Fulham, and West Ham, of course. Yeah. So it's a lot of London derbies, So yeah, I'm not too on Arsenal. I'm not gonna get too gung ho, and yes, Arsenal looking good, but to me. Again, I don't want to be people are going pessimistic and whatnot, but I'm just being real and observing Gabe, right? We are not playing well in second halves. I saw it against Crystal Palace. If that was a better team, we mean it to run away with that result. Crystal Palace. I saw it in a lot of and we've seen it in the other games where we conceded in the Fulham game, right? We saw it in a few games well. Now, yes, I was really unpleasantly shocked that we did so well against Brentford, but I think that was more due to Partey presence there in the midfield because we've sorely missed him. Right? But what's your thoughts on Arsenal so far? Great start to the season. We can't take that away from them. Great start.
I think Arsenal. I think their start to the season is not just a function of fixtures. I think it's a function of system. So. It's sustainable, and it's a testament to what Arteta has been building for the past several seasons. I think what most impresses me with Arsenal is the way that the team can get behind a new player to the squad like Gabriel Jesus,
Right.
For one, and how Gabriel Jesus kind of responds to that with the work rate that he puts in. So I think that's quite impressive, and that's a testament to good coaching to be able to bring players in. And yeah, Palace also London.
Yeah.
Good call every
See,
day.
I'll tell you, there's a lot
Yeah.
of teams. Thanks of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing that I think has been really impressive, and I'm sure you'll appreciate this one, is the how Granit Xhaka has adopted the Ilkay Gundogan role.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when Gabriel Martinelli pulls wide, he opens that space for Granit Xhaka, and he's been going in there, assists and goals, and that
Right.
that dynamic has really been working. When Martinelli stays inside, then Granit Xhaka stays behind him, and then when Martinelli pulls wide, then Granit Xhaka fills in that space. So I think that's been quite smart, and I think that will get found out. So I'm looking forward to seeing Arteta's plan B from
Yeah.
that, because I'm sure he has one.
Yeah, we did discuss this on Twitter a few weeks ago because we saw it like match day 3. I was observing it. I saw it. Because I'm no big Xhaka fan, but we won't go there. But yes, he has been, and he's doing it well because we've been
Doing well.
missing. We need players that can assist our strikers because we cannot be that team. Because even with Aubameyang, there we were not when Aubameyang not scoring, the goals were drying up. So, and especially if Saka's being marked by 4 players on the other side of the field, we need someone. So it's been very good to see him use. I would like to say Arteta applying that and Xhaka finishing it because it's only so much a manager could do. Gabe, you know better than most of us here. A manager could have instruct it and tell the players, and yes, but it's only so the players to execute it. And I must say, Xhaka has been executing that role very
Yes.
well. Have
Yeah.
to put my hands up. I have to. I have to. As much as I'm not a fan, I have to. And of course, one of my low-key teams that I've been defending with all my heart and soul from game week 3, because I told people give them some time. Everton 1, West Ham 0. West Ham shocking you, Gabe, or is this a burnout from 2 great seasons?
I think it's a burnout a bit from some tough fixtures this season and some tactical mistakes and some personnel mistakes by David Moyes. It's a bit of a mix of that. On the flip side, Everton, I've ridiculed Frank Lampard to no end, and I have stopped doing that for the last couple of weeks because Everton are showing something. There's a design here, and I think that the design came together with the addition of Idrissa Gueye. Idrissa Gueye has his presence in the midfield coming back to Everton has released Onana and Alex Iwobi. It's so nice to see Alex Iwobi
Correct.
liberated in central midfield. The way they're combining and the way they're getting forward and backwards, both of them, Onana and Iwobi, is just really, really nice to see. It's unfortunate they'll lose Patterson for a little while, but and the way everybody said Cody couldn't play in a back four. Cody can play in the back four.
But anyway.
On the West Ham side, Antonio has been, I think, inconsistent, but he's been better lately. He's been a better presence, but I think where they're kind of missing out is at the 10 and at the left wing. I'm not sure if 5 at the back is better or 4 at the back right now for them. I think I need to see more Emerson and that system in there. But my sense is that 4 at the back would be better. I would play. I think you have to start mixing it up on the left hand side between, like, if you could get a rotation from the left side of Cornet and Fornals, and then have Ben Rahma, and have a rotation at the 10 as well with Ben Rahma, Fornals, just those two rotating at the 10, and Paqueta. And as soon as Paqueta develops, then he can take that role of the 10, and then you have whoever's in form playing that left wing. The other thing I'll say about this game is I see Jared Bowen as in and around kind of where he needs to be. Just a little bit of a switch in his technique, and some of those shots go in. So I don't think he's far from returning here.
Yeah. I'm a big Bowen supporter. I had him in my team game week 1 and was patient with him, but of course had to ship him out eventually. I was more patient with him than a particular Egyptian god, but we will get there eventually, right? So, Gabe, we spoke about game week 8 there, and of course, we would have seen how the other previous game weeks went on. Any patterns evolving for you? Any particular assets or teams that you are targeting now, looking that are looking good for you?
I think it's like we're entering a period of kind of decision making. It's wild card season, so a bunch of people are wild carding. So the timing of that wild card is going to be very important. But in terms of that, like some patterns that I'm seeing, we still, I think we still want assets from the best teams, even when their fixtures change. We've seen it with these assets before, right? We've seen it. How long has Salah been the obvious own, and you own him, and he plays United, and you don't sell him. You captain him, and you keep doing things, right? So I think this is something that we need to remember when we're looking at this fixture swing. People are looking at selling the likes, and I'm one of these people selling Arsenal assets. I don't expect Arsenal to stop returning. Their assets will, and for example, one thing I'm considering is do we sell Martinelli, right? I don't know if it gets much better value, but there are other to go to the patterns, right? One question that I'm asking myself is, are the 8 million assets cheaper? Are they adequate alternatives to the premium assets? Is Diaz an adequate alternative to Salah? Is Foden an adequate alternative to Kevin De Bruyne? And if they are is it that case across the board? And should we be compounding? Is it the time of the 8 million assets?
I love it.
Because we can't have them all, so we have a little bit of something. I don't know.
Yes. I have sold Salah since game week 2, but I think you would have known my position on him since AFCON. Right?
Yep.
Since AFCON. And I split him into Diaz and Kulusevski for me. And I believe in Diaz, but we could probably marry this topic with our next topic, because the reason I would have done that, I'm wondering if some of the tactics and have been affecting some of our premiums. So, and not just tactics, but maybe some of the personnel around them. So, for instance, Liverpool, it's my firm belief, Gabe, that they are sorely missing Mane. And I don't think that Klopp was adequately backed this season. Or we know Liverpool's financial model, so we can't, we could growl, we could, be upset as much as we want, but they won't budge from that. But I think they're missing. And the reason I say that is if we look back at the Fulham game, I think a lot of that, the midfield success and the bullying that Fulham were enjoying and doing to Liverpool, I don't think they would have been able to do that with Mane there. Mane is that kind of player that drops deep. I mean, Salah does it. I mean, I guess if he needs or force, but Salah's not that kind of guy. Not going to do it willingly all the time, right? Mane is the kind of guy who will drop deep, clean up the messes, get the ball back up the road, that kind of thing. And I think they're missing that kind of player, that bully. And then too, of course, they have injuries. We can't, deny that fact as well. But I think they're missing Mane a lot, and they have not found a way to play or to adjust the suit. Because yes, having Salah, Diaz, Firmino is great firepower, of course. We know that. But it's not enough. And they have a great defense. Their backline is amazing. So there's no excuse for them to be, getting so much trouble. But I think just that big hole in the midfield needs to be plugged up for sure. On the midfield on the wing with Mane. I don't know what you think about that, Gabe.
I'm going to disagree with you there.
No problem.
So I think Luis Diaz has been the best player for Liverpool this season. But I don't disagree that it's a tactical problem, but there are also personnel problems. So while they do, okay, let's take the injuries aside because that's obvious, right? The team is going to be weakened through injury. But let's take even the stalwarts. Trent Alexander-Arnold is not the same defender. No one said he's the most amazing defender, but I don't think he's as terrible as people are making out to be. But I think this season he has been. He's been a deer in headlights. You see him wide-eyed. He can't make decisions. I think Van Dijk is not the same player this year. I think he's been slow in thought, like when he's slow to read what's going on. And I think those two things have wrecked Liverpool. And then to add to that, finally, I think the player Liverpool miss most is Diogo Jota.
Yeah. Yeah.
Liverpool Liverpool are known for pressing, right? You can't press when you have Milner playing central midfield and you have Firmino or Darwin Nunez at the 9. You need Jota in there to begin the press, then everyone can fill in behind, and they don't have to do as much running because Jota's the one to do the running.
Yeah.
So he's the key, and I think if Jota's healthy, if he starts against Brighton, for me, Jota, he may be the highest scorer in fantasy in game week 9 if he starts against Brighton, because when we did a video on De Zerbi, they like to build out of the back and hold the ball
Yes.
back there, and Jota's gonna tear them apart.
Tear them apart. Yeah.
So I really like him.
But I saw your video. Just to segue there, and I can't wait to see Brighton because I'm a big Serie A fan. And when Sassuolo came up that season, my goodness, Sassuolo were a handful. So I can't wait to see what he does at Brighton for sure. For sure. Yeah. Thanks, Keith Rocks. We said full midfield needs more depth as well. Without Thiago, they struggle for sure. For sure.
But Thiago's back, so
Yeah.
we'll see. Though he'll be back against Brighton.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, we're hoping to see if he's nailed. Yeah, Jota's a good shot, for sure. He does, it definitely helps with that. And again, Salah will not have to do, as you said, much running. Salah just has to be in place. That's it. Just has to be in position.
And then what Salah needs to start doing, Salah needs to start hitting the target. I think
Yes.
he's averaging less than one shot on target per game this season,
Yes.
but he's averaging many more shots taken. So he needs to start hitting the target, and maybe Jota winning the ball early within the counter press will put Salah in better positions to hit that target.
Another premium not hitting the goal. I mean, he scored a hat trick the other day. But Son, what's going on with Son from your perspective, Gabe?
I mean, Son is playing on a team that doesn't really do tactics well. Son has been in poor form as well. The opportunities he's had, he has not done well with them. I thought he would turn it around sooner. I think there are so many. I think he's still in a void. I don't know how anybody could convince themselves to go. I mean, over Salah, I can get it. You can make that. It's the same argument for both of them. They're kind of underperforming. But over KDB, over Kane, over Holland, it's hard to go for Son until we know he's nailed, because he's not nailed.
Right.
And he returns consistently.
As a manager, though, do you throw him back into the starting lineup next game, or Richarlison starts immediately for the next game? Based on that hat trick, and you're not supposed to be reactionary, right? You're supposed to still have, okay, you did that, you came off the bench. Can you do that again coming off the bench next game, or do you start him immediately?
I think he sticks with his plan. I think you don't let that affect what you were doing going forward, or else players start to be confused. They're like, wait, he's changing his mind so easily. We can't trust this guy. You know, he doesn't really have an idea. So he needs to show the team that his idea still continues. If I don't know what the rotation has been. If I were to guess, my guess would be that either Richarlison sits. I don't know if Richarlison is with Brazil or not. I think that need to look at that. I haven't even looked at that.
I think he is. I think so. I think only the Arsenal guys didn't go across, but I think he is. Yeah.
Right. So if Richarlison is with Brazil, then I'm sure Kulusevski starts and Richarlison starts on the bench as he flies back overseas.
Yeah. And then, of course, you have to consider Champions League. That's always a size. That always messes up everything. Let me see who else. I guess we have the top premium guys, because, of course, I had Son since game week 1, Son, Bowen, those guys. I mean, I know Bowen's not premium, but Bowen has not been firing at all. Because, I mean, he was great last season, and for some reason, not off the mark. I know West Ham as well on a whole, because even when West Ham not playing well, Bowen always steps up and is that guy that drives them forward and does well. But right now, he's not playing well and they're not playing well. And it's not that he's not getting shots off. He is, but just not happening for him. It's been very difficult for Bowen. I don't know.
Just off target. He's off target. That's what it is. He's not as. I mean, at the end of last season, he was clinical.
Yeah,
like, too clinical.
Yeah, super clinical.
Yeah.
Right now, of course, as most of you all may or may not know, the Net That Hole is a channel that, of course, they mix tactics with the metrics, of course, and the analytics. I like to call it tactilytics, right? Of course, because Gabe is on the tactical side and Neiman Mariner. Of course, especially Mariner. I'm still confused sometimes, but I do follow it as best. I think I'm getting better at following it. But how have your metrics been treating you guys this season? How have some of the game weeks, how have some of the metrics been coming out for you guys?
I think the metrics they're maturing well. At the beginning of the season, we had some anomalies, and it was kind of hard to tell how much of last season should we include in our calculations for this season and for each game week. But we weaned ourselves off of last season. I think now since game week 6, my metric has been only on this season, only uses this season data, and it's been off where some teams have had tough fixtures or something like that. But then that regulates after like 6 to 8 game weeks. I'm looking forward to after. In theory, right now we should have kind of like right around now is when I start using home and away. So we should have 4 home games and 4 away games, except we had the blank, and some teams have played 7, and most teams have played 7, and some teams have played 6. So ideally, I want to have 4 and 4, and then I start looking at home and away and see how the home and away split compares to the overall to find out what's going on.
Yeah, for sure. And I think especially teams like Brentford, not none of those kind of teams. I've seen some distinction when they're home before, especially Brentford. Brentford play amazing, except of course the last game against Arsenal. But I think Arsenal just had a point to prove, so they went, very intense. Yeah.
Home away and Brentford very much. If they can suffocate the opponents in midfield, if their movement in midfield can penetrate the defensive, like a midfield line of the opposing team, that's what they're trying to do. Yeah. But against bigger teams, they sit back, which is why you'll see them maybe sometimes go to a 3-5-2 against big teams, or a 5-3-2, right? To sit back, and then hopefully Tony will drop to length of play and Mbeumo will fill that space against the bigger teams. But against these smaller teams, Brentford will go back to their 4-3-3 and they'll start dominating that midfield again. So I do like them even away against poor opposition.
Because the reason I brought them up too, because I like the fact that, so when you watch, they go down 2-0, and I'm not worried anymore for them because they're coming right back. Especially, as you said, some of the teams that they're even against, right? Some teams on paper that they should be beaten. And as you rightfully said, when they're playing these kind of teams, Tony is not playing as high. He's playing deep to bully they as you said, they're defensive midfielders, and then link the play up to Mbeumo or Wissa if he's on the field. So yeah, for sure. I want to talk a bit about this particular guy. Does this guy have enough credit in the bank, Gabe? Should we be dumping him off again? No, I got rid of him not because he's playing poor. Because let's if we look at it properly, it's not to say he's been very poor, right? Not like Son. Son has only come down and scored in 1 game, but he's been spurts, an assist here, a goal here. But I think the problem is he's not matching what we're accustomed to. But I don't think that's enough to get rid of him or dump him. I just think he's too expensive. And as you rightfully said, there's some eights that I personally like. But I've not been telling my friends or people, hey, get rid of Salah. No, I think you should be patient with Salah. But what do you think, Gabe? Are you patient with Salah in your own team? Or no, just in general, telling people, well, no, don't give up on it.
Not patient with Salah. I sold him before game week 8, and I brought in De Bruyne. I'm glad I did. I did take the 0.1 loss in him, so I sold him at 12.9. Looks like he's about to drop again, though.
Yeah.
So I'll have avoided that. I think, the Salah problems are tactical problems with new players, tactical problems with the lack of Jota, and injuries. Everybody's getting healthy.
Yeah.
I think there's good reason to sell Salah. And I think there's, especially if he drops at 12.8, I think there's good reason to buy Salah. Yeah. But I agree with you. So we are used to him having these mega hauls consistently, and that's what he's priced at. He's priced at what we are used to, and he's not performing to what we are used to. So does that say that he is overpriced and maybe we shouldn't go for him? Maybe. I kind of think so, and I would feel more comfortable going with the best player on Liverpool so far this season, and Luis Diaz.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now that comes with risk, right?
Of course, of course, of course. But you, if someone, of course, people slide in your DMs and messaging you and whatnot and asking you about Salah, can you 100% tell them and say, you know what, I think you should keep him, or there's some part of you saying, you know what, I don't think I could tell people that. But I honestly think he has enough credit in the bank. But for me, on my team, I just don't see, where he can fit for now. For now.
If someone came and they asked me that, I would tell them I guess it's a saying, it's a quote, it's a philosophy quote. No, here's another one. This one's on the house. And I've modeled my teaching on this in my career, and a good teacher will never tell you what to do.
Right. Yeah, I could bring all the information for you. I could tell you, well, all right, what his XG is, what his stats is, or his heat map. I could bring everything for you, and you now decide if you think that warrants. I agree.
I can tell you the reason to sell him. I can tell you the reason to keep him. I can tell you the reason to get somebody else. I can tell you a bunch of reasons for a bunch of different things.
Correct.
But I can't tell you what to do.
I like that. I'm not upset with that at all. And of course, this guy. Well, I mean, there's. I was very apprehensive, Gabe, because I've seen brilliant strikers come across to the Premier League and blank. Brilliant strikers. Brilliant strikers. I think I want to say even more brilliant than him. I won't call names so I don't get cancelled. In the past, I'm talking about like early, like 2000. So when football was great, 2006 and stuff, right? The great years of football, 2004. I'm not going to call names, but I've seen brilliant strikers come across and blank, especially for certain teams like Chelsea. But, that's a different, I have a theory that Chelsea ruins players, but that's a whole different ball game. But there have been some really good strikers come across and flop. But this guy has proved me wrong, because I was telling people, well, for me personally, I won't bring him in until maybe game week 4 or 5. Let me see what's happening. I'm not going to rush for him. He was in my team at game week 3.
Yep.
Gabe, I don't know if it was a similar timeline for you, Gabe? Or was he in that game week 1?
Game week 1. I play fantasy Bundesliga. I watch the Bundesliga quite regularly. I know who we're dealing with here. He's a super mega player. This is like, when you talk of world class, like, it's just another level, pushing people aside like they're children. This is it. This is that level. This is the Iniesta, Xavi, Busquets midfield in one, that kind of influence on a team. Like, good luck handling this.
I think my fear, though, was not necessarily his prowess. I think my fear was, how would Pep play him? Because I was worried that Pep will overthink and want to only play ball to feed football with him, because he is the type of, I don't even consider him a striker. He's one of those dangerous center forwards that you can just put the ball anywhere. Or you can score from a throw-in, anything. Don't overthink it. Don't pass the ball to feed. Just put the ball in the area, and as you rightfully said, he will bully anyone in his way. And I'm not comparing them, but to me, he's like Giroud. I think Giroud was not utilized properly at Arsenal. At Chelsea, I think Chelsea figured it out. Don't pass the ball to Giroud. Put it in the area. That's it. That's all Giroud needs, and you're gonna get the goals. And we've seen that with Haaland now, especially with De Bruyne feeding him. You can't go wrong. And De Bruyne is the kind of player. I think De Bruyne has been intelligent enough to know, well, all right, just put the ball in the area. That's it.
I think that's the first and the easy thing to do. But and we saw this in the Community Shield, and we've seen it. What the team is starting to figure out is you can put the ball on the ground in space, any space, as long as, with the right weight. Right, you have that when you punch the ball, and it almost does a little back skip to begin with, and then once it passes the defender, it catches and it slows down. He will always get between the defender and the ball every single time. And he's the fastest, well, definitely top or second fastest professional footballer on the planet. So he's been clocked, I think, at 37 or 38 kilometers per hour. Wow. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Or he's a monster. He's just a monster.
and especially as a tall person, is strides, right? Strides,
Yes.
right? 3 steps for us humans and a stride for him. So
Yeah.
yeah, far less, and especially with the ball to feet as well. But he's been brilliant. I've been, you think he could average what 40? You think? Oh, that's overdoing it.
40 goals?
Yeah, you think so? You think he could clock 40?
Yeah. Yeah, he could get 40. He could get 40. Yes.
Gabe, I love it. I just love how you're saying like, oh, come on. No, I follow Bundesliga as well. I'm
60 minutes.
yeah,
Playing 60 minutes a match, he can get 40.
exactly. Because he's at what now? 10 right now?
14.
Jeez. Right. Because he played he scored in Champions League as well.
Mm.
Right? Craziness.
14, I guess, all competitions, right?
Yeah,
10 in the
all competitions. Yeah. I forgot Champions League. So, as I say, I think right now you must have Haaland, or Haaland, as I like to say, you must have Haaland in your team for sure, going forward. And again, he could also help ease the Salah crisis because you can sell Salah, get Foden, have him good to go. But that's just me, speaking out loud. So okay, so Gabe, oh yes, let me bring up. Oh, did I save it? Yes, I did. Ah, yes, I have it right here. So we have a nice open session now. We got through most of the topics we'd have liked to gotten through. Gabe, this is your wildcard team here. I would like to make people laugh before you go. I wildcard in game week 2. That's when I got rid of Salah. Right? Early o'clock. I was like, nope. Because as I said, I mentally was over Salah's AFCON, as you rightfully know. That's when I brought in Fabinho, that mad 2 game weeks and whatnot. I was mentally off of Salah. But you couldn't go into game week 1 this season without Salah. That was suicide.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but take it away. So this is your game week 9 wildcard. So you already clicked it, and for sure using your wildcard. Walk us through some of the thought processes. Now I've seen some interesting players here.
Yeah, so I mean, to start off, you can see I'm 0.1 short of this wildcard team, but all my players are like, if I get a rise kind of anywhere, I'll get that 0.1. So I'm confident that I'll get it by the end of next week. Raya and Everson in goal. Raya's in goal because of the fixtures and because what we were talking about. I do expect, Brentford have been conceding recently, but that's because their fixtures have been a little tougher, and even in the easier fixture they've conceded. But it's been within those tough fixtures between them. So I do think they're going to control the games more. And when Brentford controls the game more, actually Raya can get more bonuses as well because he is involved in the passing. Correct. So I'm looking at Raya for those reasons. My idea is to play a 3-4-3. So the back three would be Reece James, Cancelo, and Trippier. I like Reece James because I think Potter will play him. He'll be nailed at that in the wing back role in Potter's system. So I could be wrong about that. Maybe he will be moved. Maybe Potter doesn't trust other people. I don't really know yet, but this is my expectation. So Reece James is pretty nailed in my team. Cancelo speaks for himself. He's basically nailed with some attacking potential, not as much as we're used to, but he's nailed for the best defense in the league. It's with some attacking potential. I like Trippier. Again, always attacking threat. Newcastle are getting healthy, and their upcoming fixtures are decent. So I do want, and the ownership is quite high. So I want some kind of Newcastle representation, and I'd rather have Trippier than Pope. And then I have Neco Williams as my 5th defender there. Sorry, 5th defender. My 4th defender right now is the 4-4 Fofana, who I think provides incredible value. There are other defenders at 4-4 that I think have good value. I think all the models like Kufal, because of their upcoming fixtures. Yeah. But I just think Fofana plays on the best team. So it's kind of like I want solidity. I don't need upside. So that's the back line. The midfield 4 is Madison, Zaha, Foden, and Luis Diaz right now, with Andres Pereira as the 5th midfielder. Now this is a case of either kind of say it as you want, right? I'm riding the fence. I'm not going for Salah or De Bruyne. I want all of the 7 to 8 million prospects. They all have good fixtures or are getting healthy. So I just want a piece of all of them. Yeah. And I think they could all perform to a premium or at least a sub-premium value. Level, what hurts is selling Martinelli for Luis Diaz.
Mm. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a tough call.
Yeah.
What the way I'm leaning for Luis Diaz is because as Liverpool get healthy, I don't want to get caught without Liverpool if they do
Right.
start performing. So I want some of their representation, and I don't have to worry about game week 12, which I would do with Martinelli. The downside is I lose a lot of accrued value that I've had in Martinelli, and to buy him back may not be easy. I can sell him for 6.3. Which means he's worth what 6.6 right now. So say he drops one in the blank, it basically cost me 0.2 this move. So is that worth the points difference from Luis Diaz to Martinelli? I haven't decided yet. And then my front three is just the obvious: Mitrovic, Haaland, and Kane.
No, of course, the front three speaks for itself. Now, I love the Raya because I have Raya since game week 1, and the thing with Raya, yes, no, I know there's Edison. We could easily go for Edison, even Laurie's maybe, but for me, Raya is a saving machine. He has been getting a lot of save points and bonus points as well because of that. And as you rightfully said, if they do now start to control the games, these fixtures, they have some very nice fixtures coming in there. I think, as you rightfully said, he could get a lot of bonus points. So I've been advocating for Raya for the longest while. And of course, Iverson cheap and helps ease up some funds for some of the other assets that you have here. Yeah, I like the Fofana shout. I'm not vexed with your backline at all. Of course, Neko is gonna score a goal this season. I am guaranteeing it. It's coming.
And he'll be third on my bench when he does.
You just wait for my tweet, right? Just wait for that tweet game. It's coming. He's gonna score a screamer too, and nothing from a corner. That's boring. He's gonna score a nice screamer outside the box. Watch and see, right? Trippier, of course, yes. Trippier has made it to my team. Cancelo's obvious. I like the City assets for sure. We were just discussing Foden, and I think Foden is the safest-ish of the Pep roulette. I know that's very. We can say that now, and then he could not play for 3 games. It's very frustrating. Very frustrating. But thankfully, if he does not start, he has been coming on and still getting some type of contribution. So as you said, his window, a 20-minute window or so 50-minute window, he has still been getting some kind of return. So hopefully that's enough.
I mean, with Fofana first sub, I'd almost rather Foden not play at all if he doesn't start. But so after the international break, Manchester City they play Copenhagen twice,
right?
Which is not a difficult matchup. I believe the first match is away, so maybe the better players start in that one. But I could see Pep focusing on the league during that time.
Yeah.
Rather than Copenhagen.
As we analyzing your team and talking about Foden and Fofana and stuff like that, the 5 subs game. Have you know? Let me see. How can I phrase it? So normally we always want our players to at least make it to the 60-minute mark, and then say right, good. Especially defenders, because we are seeing now, especially because of the 5 subs, the wing backs are being sacrificed. No, I don't say sacrificed, but taken off because, of course, is a fixture crunch. This game week 1 has been a fixture crunch, and we're set now with some of the delays and then World Cup coming up, so they have to rest their players because there's a lot of them in Europe. You have Europa League, you have Champions League, so you've seen a lot of the wing backs being taken off, and the centre backs are the ones staying on the longest. And of course, now some of our key assets, even a Foden is no, or even Haaland could not start at some point. But I don't see that happening. I'm just saying. And then come on now in a 50-minute window, 20-minute window. Are you now confident that a lot of the are you not afraid of that anymore in the sense that okay, five subs, I'm confident Foden could come on in a 20-minute window and score or assist. Are you less worried about that now? They could come on and bring some contributions with the 5 subs?
No, I don't share that thinking. I have heard people say like, oh, he can come on and get something. That sounds to me like excusing something that's actually a concern. So before the 5 substitutions, it was a concern like you don't want your player playing 20 minutes. But now that there are 5 substitutions, 20 minutes is an opportunity to get something. I don't understand how that flipped. So I'm still of the mind that look, less minutes is bad and more minutes is good. Now you could have, I mean, that's a truism. right?
Right.
Now there are players, for example, like Holland, that it doesn't worry you if he comes off on the 60th minute. You know when Holland comes off, it's probably because he's gotten his return. That they're okay with taking him off. If they need a goal and he's blanking, they're gonna keep him in there. So I don't view it like that. Less minutes is bad. I definitely think less minutes is bad. And I don't worry about the 5 subs. I'm pretending that it's just like I don't think we know enough that like it depends on the wingback's role, for example.
Right.
Cancelo tucks in. He plays D mid a lot as well, so maybe he's not doing as much running as some other wing backs, and then maybe just some managers just rotate a lot more than other managers.
Yeah. All right. And I see it went Mitrovic. Mitrovic was the first time he's touching the team for the season or no?
So no, I brought Mitrovic in 2 game weeks ago on a hit.
Right.
As I was going to be priced out, so I brought him in when he was 6.7 million.
Oh, nice.
And I've had him for 2 game weeks, I guess. I got a nice little haul from him, and then last week blank. But yeah.
And before when assets blank deep, so we could take this off. Just a few things before we sign. Okay, so open session, guys. Any questions at all? Let us know. When players blank, can we remind people, Gabe, that of course just one game. Now, of course, you've seen Son, but that's a whole different something else happened there. Right? But someone consistent like Haaland, Jesus, Mitrovic, I'll even say Madison, for instance, right? Are these guys worth being patient with, especially Mitrovic? They blank next game. You're not gonna panic, right? You're gonna say, right, we take down the chin. Next one. What do you tell people when they start to go on Twitter and freak out and just remind them to stay cool? It's just one game. These guys have been consistent.
I tell them we are managers of our FPL team, right? And like we were talking earlier, what does Conte do now that Son comes in and scored a hat trick? You stick with the plan. That is new information, sure, but it's very new information, and it's just a little bit compared to all the rest of the information we've had all season. So I would say trust your progress over the season, and look at your progression as like holistically from game week 1 until now. Don't just look at game week 8. Then that's when at least in the past for me, when I look at one game week, then I begin to lose my way, whether it's a good game week or a bad game week. Oh, what an amazing green arrow. And I just look at that green arrow and I lose my way. I think you have to connect all of your game weeks and maintain that kind of broader lens.
Correct. And I'm glad they said that because sometimes the great performance, the 100-point haul, could now make you lazy. Because sometimes you can tell yourself, well, all right, great, this team was the best. And then you're not looking ahead at maybe the next 2-3 fixtures to try now and think of the team accordingly, because now, yes, this game week was really good. Or the flip side, this game week was bad. They made 50 points or whatever, below average. But the next few fixtures now could favor the assets that you have. It's just one game, one match, one game week that just didn't. And not everyone has bad game weeks. I just want to try and remind people that, don't give up, hang in there, and do your own research, of course, too, and of course, move to suit to your team. As I said, I just could not bear to. I only brought in Salah for that first game week because it's Salah, right? Let's just see what Salah does. And then I was like, game week 2, all right, bye-bye. But he did assist. He did score in between there. It's not to say he has been blanking all the way through. Again, Holland, I was a bit patient. I wanted to see how he would play. And even Mitrovic, I didn't have Mitrovic at the start. Right? I didn't have him at all. And I've been, so it's all about a patience game. Before we sign off, though, how are you doing overall in some of the mini leagues and overall?
Overall, I don't remember. I think I'm around. I don't really start paying attention to overall rank until maybe game week 10 or so.
Not even rank. I just mean in terms of in terms of like the assets that you're picking and whatnot. Are you pleased with your punts and that kind of thing? That's what I mean.
Yeah, I feel good. I feel like I've chosen, I selected the right assets to begin the season. I mean, we always said that the template began quite strongly. So it just tells you that kind of like the community analysis is people are on the right track. They're looking at the right things, and that early template team, which is so important in the game of FPL. You have to like play FPL separately from the way you see football itself. But that game, I feel like the picks have been good. Now it's time. Now I feel like it's really, this is usually the time where I get in my own way. I start overthinking things. So we'll see. Like, I'm going to make some big changes and maybe deviate from the template a little bit and some opportunities that I see. So I think the next 8 game weeks will be really, really telling in terms of our analysis and the eye test and the stats.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know me, deviate is my favorite word. I've been, you know me, but
You're
of
a
course,
deviant, my friend. You are a deviant.
but of course, my spine is always template. I always tell people that make sure your spine
Yeah.
is template. There's a core spine now, right? But not now in game week 1. Go with that, and then you add the players. Because you know me, I like to look at the other guys that, at least to me, do just as well as the premiums and on a cheaper budget. But of course, let's see what the eats can do. It's now for the eats. Time for the eats. Any closing remarks, Gabe? Anything at all? Don't forget to plug and remind the guys of the great news, right? So take it away. Anything at all that you want to chime in with? Anything at all?
Yeah, so again, just I'll say, please go to footballcontentawards.com. We've been nominated for the 2nd year running for best fantasy content. Net that hall, give us a vote. We'd really appreciate it. What else other than that? No, we just recorded a tactics video with at Libero FPL that came out yesterday on our channel, so check that out. We talk about De Zerbi and the new tactics at Brighton and what to look forward to there. And other than that, enjoy this international break. There are some fun games out there. A lot of them seem kind of like meaningless and stuff, but there are a couple gems and some young players that I'm interested in seeing. So, thank you so much, Jared, for this invitation. It's fun as always, my friend.
Always. Yeah. So I would, of course, want to thank my co-host. As again, never a guest. I can't use the word guest anymore. Great friend to the channel, FPL Lens, Gabe. And of course, one of the co-hosts of the Net.Hall. I have it up on the screen here, guys. Go to the Football Content Awards website. I have the description. I have it in the description below as well. The instructions on what to do. You just follow that link below. Scroll down to the content creators section, and you put in Net.Hall. And you can, of course, in the editorial section, put all about FPL as well. Some good friends to the channel as well. Shout out Javed Sandkalp, right? Always with some great articles, and of course Javed with some of the best predictive 11s. For each game week, they always bang on. Always, I think he hauled about 80 points in this last predictive here. Right, always doing well. And of course, guys, we are trying to get to 1,000 subs. We are currently at 669. We appreciate your support. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And we do it all. F1 Fantasy is coming back next week. We're doing CPL Fantasy currently. You will see our there's some interviews with Jason Holland and Sherman Hetmeyer. Of course, we're covering UCL as well. Once there's a fantasy, we are there. Your home of fantasy sport, guys. Stay tuned for more, and of course, look out for our Japan F1 live watch along. We have something very special planned. I'm going to make that graphic Monday. Please be prepared and stay tuned for that announcement. So, guys, take care. I want to thank my co-host Gabe for taking some time to come through with us and to hang with us and to give us insight on FPL and to rock back a little bit. International break. We don't like to think too hard, but we still like to discuss our favorite hobby and pastime, which is fantasy football. And again, guys, and don't forget there's NFL to watch. There's a lot to watch during the international break. A lot of sports going on. Take care and have a good one. See you guys in the next one.